Hi, I'm Mark Spenny, President and CEO of CEFCU. One of the best ways to avoid being a victim of a scam or identity theft is to learn about different types of scams, what some of the danger signs are, and some of the things that many scams and crooks have in common. As part of CEFCU's continued focus on financial education, we recently started hosting periodic seminars to help make members and our communities aware of the improving ways con artists are trying to defraud people. Our hope is that by watching these sessions, members of all ages, everywhere, will be more aware of what to watch out for and better equipped to protect yourself from becoming a victim of a scam. Thanks for taking a few minutes to watch. We hope you find them helpful.
Hello, my name is Jay Zentko. I'm the manager of two departments at CEFCU. I manage the loss prevention department, which handles fraud and bad checks, and I manage mortgage collections. It's really sad when these two jobs overlap. We have a gentleman who can't pay his mortgage because he keeps sending money to scammers. They have convinced him that he's inherited $4 billion from a relative in Spain. Not 4 million, 4 billion. However, in order for him to get the money, he has to pay certain fees and then pay and pay and pay. He has to pay taxes. Then he has to pay shipping fees. Then he has to pay insurance on the shipping. Then the money gets held up in customs and he has to pay customs fees. Then, oh wait, there was a mistake in the taxes, so he has to pay tax penalties. Then they find a guy who can get it through customs, so but he has to be paid. And then there's additional shipping fees. Oh, wait, there's a lawyer that needs to be paid now. Every time he sends them money, it's the last time. Just pay this last $1,500 and then you'll get your $4 billion. It's just right there. It's just out of reach. Just pay this last $2,000. The money's in Peoria now, but now it's held up at the airport. There's a fee you have to pay there. Just every time, just over and over. But all your dreams come true. Just pay this last fee and you have $4 billion. This last little hurdle, it's just so close. Meanwhile, he's close to losing his house because he can't afford to pay us because he's sending all his money to these guys. I've talked to him. My collectors have talked to him. My fraud investigators have talked to him. We referred the case to social services, and they've talked to him. None of us have been able to convince him that there's no inheritance. This is a common scam. It's been around for many years. And when we hear about a case like this, our first instinct is, how stupid can this guy be? And that's what I'm here to talk about today. Intelligence has nothing to do with it. Our member is actually a very intelligent person. The smartest people can and are defrauded. You know why scammers like to scam smart people? Smart people have money to steal. I'll give you an example. As a hobby, I'm an amateur magician. As a magician, I've developed skills that most people do not have, and I know things that most people do not know. That doesn't mean magicians are smarter than everyone else. It just means that under certain circumstances, which we control, we can fool you every time. One time I performed a trick for some of CEFCU's internal auditors, and these are very smart people. So I took a big handful of pennies and put them in the piles on the table. And then I gave an auditor an additional penny, and I told him to put it on any of those piles. Then I had them count the pennies again, and that additional penny had disappeared. And then I did it again and again and again. Every time I gave them a penny, they added it to a pile, and I made it disappear. And the secret to this trick is I was controlling what they saw and how they thought about what was happening. I controlled the entire situation, and that's how scammers work. And back to our member with his inheritance. I told him if he didn't believe me, he should talk to someone he trusted. He agreed to talk to his accountant. The next month, when he couldn't make his mortgage payment again, I talked to him. He told me that he did talk to his accountant. But it turns out that he told the scammer that he wanted to talk to his accountant, and the scammer said, "Oh, I know an accountant." And so he hooked him up with his friend who pretended to be an accountant. And he assured him that, oh, yeah, the money's on the way. You just have to pay this last fee. These scammers were controlling the whole situation, who he talked to, what information he had, and what he could believe. And we believe what we want to believe. And this guy really wanted to believe he was getting $4 billion. Think of all the money he could help all the people he could help with that money. His family would be set forever. He could give money to his church, to hospitals, to schools. Once we start to believe that our dreams have come true, all the scammer has to do is keep feeding you what you need to hear to fortify that belief. And it's easy because you want to believe. You'll gobble up any information that confirms your belief, and you'll reject any information that causes doubt. That's human nature. The scammers aren't smarter than their victims. It's not a battle of wits. The scammers are not matching the victim's intelligence. They are playing with the victim's emotions. Intelligence has nothing to do with it. Anyone can get scammed. The scammers have developed skills which allow them to find out what the victims are missing in their life, and then they figure out a way to promise to give it to them. Romance scams are still very popular. We see them at CEFCU all the time. When someone is sending money overseas, we ask them what it's for, and they say they're sending money to their fiance so they can come to the U.S. And this is a hallmark of a romance scam. So we ask them if they've ever met this fiance, and they always say yes, they have. I don't know why, but they always lie about that. When we press them further, we can often get them to admit that no, they haven't actually met in person, but they always lie to us about meeting them. Maybe when we ask that question, they realize it sounds bad, and to have a fiance that you haven't met and you're sending them money, so that maybe they just don't want to look bad to us, or maybe they're coached by the scammer to answer like that. I really don't know. I want to tell a story about a case we had just last week. A lady was on a website when a pop-up ad popped up. I don't know what it said, but it had a phone number on it, and she called it. The person who answered said he was from CEFCU, and someone was sending money from her account to Shanghai, China. But fortunately, the FBI happened to be there right now working on it, and right there with him, and he was working on catching the bad guys. What a lucky break for her. They instructed her to move her money out of CEFCU for 1 week to keep it safe. They gave her instructions on how to bank wire the money to an account in Chase Bank in Brooklyn, New York. They told her that would keep the money safe, and then they would send it back to CEFCU in a week. Of course, a week later, she's calling us wanting to know where her money is. That was $39,000, everything that she had in her account. Who are the victims of a scam? Like I said before, anyone can get fooled. Smart people are actually a little bit more likely to get scammed for the simple reason that they think they're too smart to get scammed. The scammers are taking advantage of emotions that everyone has. Anyone can be caught in a scam. Scammers take advantage of trust. Honest people make great victims because they tend to be more trusting. It's not who you are that makes you a good target. It's who you are at this particular moment in your life that determines if you're a good target. This is the number one characteristic that makes you a good target for scammers is if you're feeling isolated or lonely. Major upheavals in your life can also throw you off and make you a good target. Job loss, divorce, serious injury or illness, downturn in finances, you're in a strange environment. All of these things can make you more susceptible to scammers emotionally. Right now is a great time to be a scammer because everybody's stressed. There's rioting and looting. We're afraid of getting sick. This disease is taking away handshakes and hugs and even smiles. Everyone is feeling unsettled and out of their element. You may not consider yourself to be a risk taker, but at times when you are emotionally vulnerable, you become more impulsive and more likely to take risks. Can I get scammed? Like everyone else, I like to think I was too smart. I'm too smart to get scammed, but if the right scam came along, it could get me. I think I could. I have an awful lot of knowledge about scams, but the right story could hit me at the right time when I'm in the right emotional state, and knowledge really has little to do with it. I mean, for example, look at art forgery. Art forgers, their target audience are people who know an awful lot about art. Forgers make their money fooling art experts. So yes, I can probably be fooled. I'm sure other magicians fool me all the time. Scams work because we want them to. They are about beliefs. We believe we are special. We believe we are good and we deserve good things to happen to us. We believe the world isn't all about uncertainty and negativity. We believe the world is full of wonder. And all these things are true. These are all good, healthy things to believe, but these beliefs are what the scammers use against us. Scammers tell us stories that affirm what we want to believe. Then they let us convince ourselves that they are true. Once we start to believe the story, confirmation bias kicks in. Confirmation bias is when you look for things that agree with your thinking and ignore any evidence that might prove that you're wrong. We convince ourselves that what we're doing is right. We turn "it's too good to be true" into "actually, this makes perfect sense." If you're a scammer, who do you think is the best person to scam? This is going to sound strange, but the best person to scam is someone who just got scammed. After a person gets scammed, they try to justify their actions to themselves. They come up with explanations for, why did I do that? They have to come up with reasons that make the whole thing make sense to themselves. So they discount all the mistakes they made and focus on the moves which they made, which made sense. Eventually, they figure out that they could have gotten rich. It was just bad luck that it didn't work out. By ignoring the negative things, they didn't learn a lesson. In fact, they put themselves in the perfect state of mind to get scammed again because their actions are now perfectly logical to them. This whole time I've been talking about how skilled these scammers are and how they can scam anyone. I don't want to be all negative, so I'll finish up by giving you some general advice on how to avoid being taken. First of all, there are no strangers out there that want to help you make money. I'm sorry, but these people just don't exist. If someone contacts you out of the blue through emails or pop-up ads or telephone or in person and offers to help you make money, at some point, I guarantee they're going to ask for money out of your pocket. And by the time they hit you up, the story will be so complete that it will make perfect sense for you to send them the money. So if you find yourself about to send money to someone you don't know personally, just stop. Talk to a family member or someone you've known for a long, long time. Get an outside opinion from someone who's outside of the web that they're weaving around you. And second, don't let them get your hooks in you in the first place. Don't respond to pop-up ads on your computer. Don't respond to emails from strangers. If a stranger calls with an offer, just hang up. I know it's in your nature to be polite, but you don't have to be polite to someone who's trying to steal from you. Just hang up. Don't try to tell them off or give them a piece of your mind. It won't do any good, and you really don't want to make them mad because you don't know who these people are, but they could have an awful lot of information about you. The more you talk to them, the more information you're giving them, and the more time they have to figure out the perfect thing they say to hook you. So just hang up. Third, never give your online banking credentials to anyone for any reason. Those credentials are only for you. The scammers will tell you that they need them to send money to you. Don't do it. If you give out your online banking information, not only will they take your money, but they'll move stolen money through your account. You'll be responsible. Fourth, never give your debit card PIN to anyone. Fifth, do not buy Green Dot cards or Apple gift cards or any kind of gift cards and read the numbers over the phone to people who ask you to do that. I can't think of any legitimate reason to do that, but scammers get people to do that all the time so they can get their money. The IRS or the police or anyone else who is legitimate will not have you pay them with gift cards. Sixth, if someone sends you a cashier's check and asks you to send some of the money back to them, you can bet that cashier's check will be counterfeit. And you are the person legally responsible for that check. One way they use this fraud is in work from home schemes. You respond to an ad to make money from home in your spare time. You think you're working for them. They send you a check with instructions to cash it and then buy supplies from a place that they tell you to. So you deposit the check in your account at CEFCU and then send the money to buy your supplies off to where they instruct you to. And then, of course, the check is returned because it's counterfeit, and you're responsible for paying back all the money that you've taken for the check. Seventh, don't respond to free trial offers. And we see this is probably one of the most common things we're seeing at CEFCU now. One of the biggest complaints we have. You'll see an ad which lets you try a service for free or a product for free with no risk. The biggest culprits right now are keto diet pills, muscle builders, testosterone supplements, wrinkle cream, and CBD oil and CBD gummies. But don't take up these free trial offers. Once these people get your credit card, they'll make it almost impossible for you to stop the subscription, and they'll keep hitting your credit card for $90 or more every month until you figure out how to stop it. And like I said, they make it very difficult. And even if you cancel your credit card, they can still bill you and send you to a collections agency because you have an agreement with them. Plus, some of these companies are shady, and you don't know what they'll do with your email and your any personal information that they have about you. Another thing that grandparents are susceptible to is they let their grandchildren use their card for Xbox in-game purchases or PlayStation in-game purchases. Once that card information is in the machine, the kids can go nuts and just keep making purchases. The poor grandparent thinks that the kid is just spending $4 one time when we find out when they get their statement that the kid spent hundreds or even thousands of dollars through these game systems. And this does happen. We see this a lot. And again, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. Thank you.